Burundi has run out of fuel. You can barely find any fuel in the fuel stations. I was shocked to find out why that is the case. Today in Burundi, a liter of petrol can cost more than a doctor earns in a day. Hospitals have turned grieving families away, telling them to take their dead home because the mortuary's generator has no fuel. This is not war, guys. This is not a foreign invasion. This is Burundi's fuel crisis, a man-made catastrophe born of policy failure, political greed, and an oil addiction that has shackled not just Burundi, but much of Africa itself. Burundi is in its third year of a crippling fuel crisis, not a temporary shortage, not a hiccup in supply, but a deep, sustained collapse that has immobilized a nation. This is the story of who did what, why it happened, and how Burundi and Africa as a whole can finally break free from its oil addiction. This crisis began tightening its grip in 2022 and has never let go. Petrol stations in both Bujumbura and other towns have become symbols of paralysis. In rural Cibitoke, farmers watch tomatoes and mangoes rot under the sun because no truck will come. In the capital, the price of a simple bus ride has tripled, forcing families to choose between getting to work and buying food. Black market prices tell the real story. When official petrol is meant to cost about 4,000 Burundian francs per petrol, people are paying up to 20,000 francs, about $7 a liter. In some cases, 1.5 liters has been sold for more than 45,000 francs. That's a scarcity premium of more than 1,000%. That's more than inflation. That's an economy in shock. Government officials offer a simple explanation. Burundi does not have enough foreign currency to purchase fuel. It's true, because you cannot pay for imported fuel in Burundian francs. You need the dollars, and Burundi's well of dollars has run dry. Think of the economy like a household budget. Burundi earns revenue by selling coffee and tea to the world, but it spends far more on what it must import: fuel, medicine, machinery. Today, export earnings cover just a quarter of the import bill. So it's like earning $1,000 a month, but spending $4,000. Sooner or later, the savings account, which in this case is the foreign exchange reserves, runs dry. You go broke. Burundi is broke. But this wasn't inevitable. Bad policy made it worse. The government, short of cash, printed money to cover deficits, stoking inflation that has hit 39% in early 2025. A dual exchange rate keeps the franc artificially high on paper, while the black market tells the real story. This punishes honest exporters. Imagine selling coffee for dollars, only to be forced to trade those dollars at a fake rate that robs you of their value. The rational response? Smuggle it out instead. The result? Even fewer dollars for the central bank. Who profits from this chaos? A weak economy is only half the story, though. To understand this crisis, you must follow the fuel. For years, imports were dominated by this company, tied to the former president, Pierre Nkurunziza, under President Evariste Ndayishimiye. That monopoly was broken, but not in the name of competition, but to install a new cartel. The government starved Interpetrol of dollars and handed import rights to Prestige, reportedly owned by First Lady Angeline Ndayishimiye, and this state utility. These new players like the fleets, the storage, and the international supplier networks. The supply chain collapsed almost overnight. In 2024, the government created this, a state oil company tasked with running the whole chain, but without technical capacity or governance reforms, shortages persisted. Meanwhile, reports surfaced of corruption, from a $10 million embezzlement scandal to police diverting fuel for black market resale. Even when fuel arrives, it's not for everyone. Ordinary citizens queue for days, while ruling party convoys and security vehicles reportedly get reserved supplies. In an election season, that's not just favoritism, that's political weaponization of scarcity. The human toll, families, farmers, and the forgotten. In a country where 87% live below the poverty line, this crisis hits hardest at the poorest, and they're the majority. Transport costs have doubled or tripled. Urban food prices have soared as produce fails to reach markets. Farmers are trapped in debt, unable to repay seasonal loans. Hospitals run out of fuel for ambulances and refrigeration. At one point, the main mortuary in Bujumbura actually shut down, and families had to take bodies home. And during elections, fuel reportedly flows more easily to ruling party vehicles than to ambulances. Do you now see how and why Africa's biggest problem is the CRE, corrupt ruling elites? So, is there a way out of this nightmare? Yes, there is, but it requires a bold pre-stage plan. First, in the short term, you have to stop the bleeding. This means rejecting the idea of a massive, expensive fuel subsidies that would bankrupt the state and mostly help the rich anyway. Instead, you use targeted cash payments to help the poorest families who are being crushed by high food prices and high transport costs. You create a transparent system to ensure that the little fuel available goes to the true essentials: ambulances, trucks carrying food, and public buses. Second, in the midterm, you have to fix the broken engine. This is the hard part. It means working with international partners to stabilize the economy. It means unifying that toxic dual exchange rate and stopping the endless money printing. It means building a national rainy day fund for fuel, a strategic petroleum reserve with enough supply to last at least 90 days so the country is no longer vulnerable to every little shock. And it means launching an all out assault on corruption, the corruption that has poisoned the supply chain. But the third stage, that's where the story gets truly transformative. This is about breaking the addiction to imported oil for good. This is about a grand strategy for the future. For a country like Burundi, that future isn't in biofuels, which would compete with food for precious farmland. The future is electric. And I'm not talking about expensive Teslas for the elite. I'm talking about a revolution on two and three wheelers. Electric motorcycles and tricycles are cheaper, more maneuverable, and perfectly suited for the needs of most Burundians. The timing for this leap into the future couldn't be better. While the country starves for fuel, it's simultaneously tripling its electricity production thanks to massive new hydropower plants coming online. Imagine this: a transport system running not on expensive imported fuel, but on clean, cheap, domestically produced renewable energy. It's a pathway to true energy independence. Of course, you can't have electric vehicles without electricity. And today, only 11% of Burundians have access to the grid. So this electric dream must be paired with a massive national project to get power to every village. And it must be paired with smart, simple investments in things that work right now, like better public buses and, crucially, eventually, safe lanes for bicycles and pedestrians, the most affordable and fuel-free transport of all. Burundi is at a crossroads. It can continue down a path of economic mismanagement and political capture, a path that leads to more paralysis and poverty. Or it can choose a different road, a road that requires tough reforms and a real commitment to good governance, but one that leads to a resilient, self-sufficient, and sustainable future. The choice is stark, and for the people of Burundi, everything depends on it. Burundi's fuel crisis is not an accident. It's a slow motion and an implosion engineered by economic fragility, policy failure, and elite capture. But this is also Africa's reflection in the mirror. Importing oil we don't produce, paying for it with dollars we don't have, in systems run by leaders we didn't truly choose. Breaking free will take discipline, transparency, and the courage to leapfrog into a future powered by our own resources. Because until we do so, Africa will remain at the mercy of the oil barrel and the people who control it. Burundi is the wake-up call. Africa, are we listening? We must listen and take action urgently today.